One could bet a lot in Vegas, very safely, that President Trump will not endorse Republican Adam Kinzinger in his upcoming primary. You just heard that from Matt. The six-term congressman voted to impeach Mr. Trump and now sits on the January 6th commission. He now faces a primary challenge, that is Kinzinger, from Catalina Lauf. Today, she picked up an endorsement from sitting Congressman and Trump loyalist Madison Cawthorn. Here is the tweet itself. Proud to endorse a true American fighter today, Catalina Lauf is an America First political outsider who refuses to bow the knee to the radical left. It's time for lions to rise. And with that, we bring in pro-Trump candidate, former member of the Trump administration, Catalina Lauf. Nice to see you. We appreciate it. You worked in the Trump administration. Obviously, you'd won his endorsement, I would assume. Have you talked to the former president about it?
You know, the team is well aware of our race, especially as today it was made a lot of media headlines, and his endorsement still remains the most valuable currency in Republican politics, and certainly in a primary like the one that we are going up against Adam Kinzinger.
Looking in terms of what Kinzinger has, he has some structural advantages in that he is a sitting member of Congress, and he's certainly gotten a lot of media attention from the left as well, because he is now seen as this person who is willing to be, and this is their words, not mine, more reasonable. And these are pictures of him from yesterday on the January 6th commission, hugging some of the officers who were involved as well. But here's the structural numbers. Kinzinger fundraising numbers, second quarter, 806,000 campaign donations, 3.1 million saved, 349,000 from individuals, 456,000 from committees, 806,000 in campaign donations. Those are impressive. How do you go up against that?
Well, first and foremost, the way that this has been built in terms of the establishment, the swamp, it's built to preserve incumbents like Adam Kinzinger. But unfortunate to his campaign is that he has not had any infrastructure here on the ground. Since his first election a couple terms ago, he has not had a team. He did not have infrastructure. The only reason why he keeps winning is because he's never been challenged before. And this is the first time that he is being challenged by a formidable candidate in our campaign. We've raised over $250,000. We're heading into posting big numbers this next quarter. And we have, most importantly, the support of the people on the ground. These are people that supported President Trump. They don't want somebody like Adam Kinzinger representing their values, because clearly he is not representing their values. This is a heavy Republican Trump primary. It's a manufacturing, it's a small business, farmers, everyday Americans out here. And we are so confident going into this primary, knowing that the people of the 16th district want real servant leadership. They don't want somebody on MSNBC and CNN and being Pelosi's lapdog like Adam has been for the last.
It was interesting, your tweet yesterday. Adam Kinzinger crying about January 6th is nothing but political theater, just like everything else in Washington, D.C. Clearly, all of us can agree what happened on January 6th was awful.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I don't think any Republican has ever said that it wasn't. And anybody that did commit a crime should be held accountable. That's been very firm.
Okay.
But more importantly is that it was theatrics. The way that he did talk about.
So this is an attack against him, not in terms of the process.
It's an attack against him, and it is an attack against the completely partisan process that Nancy Pelosi wanted in this commission. If she truly wanted it bipartisan, why didn't she have real conservative representation like Congressman Jim Banks, like Congressman Jim Jordan? People asking very tough questions to get down to the bottom of what happened.
Yes.
That was not what we saw. We saw a complete soap opera with Adam Kinzinger ready to win an Emmy for a daytime.
We don't need to rehash yesterday. We had this conversation yesterday. Asked some of the very same questions you did in terms of how do you have a bipartisan commission? How do you have Republican buy-in on a report clearly from a partisan commission? Last question for you going forward here, and this picks up on what Matt was talking about. Obviously, a President Trump endorsement would be huge for you in this race. Pretty safe to say he's not going to endorse Adam Kinzinger. How important would that be in the general, and do you worry that you'd have an effect almost like the Georgia Senate, where it would help you a lot in the primary, but it could hurt you in the general?
Like I mentioned before, having his endorsement is an honor, and it is still the most valuable currency today in Republican politics. But I think, to also Matt's point on the race in Texas, it all comes down to the candidate and electability. I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of people, a lot of different supporters from all different demographics and diverse backgrounds support us. It depends on how much work you do, how good your team is, and how much you're able to compete and the messaging. And I'm fortunate and confident enough that we have everything that it takes to not only win this primary, but also a general election.
Catalina, we appreciate you being here, and we're going to have you back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great conversation.